Warning! The following video is for entertainment purposes only. Be sure to hype responsibly, my friends. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another, this one's insane, an insane episode of Croc Watch. The copious, conspiracyist epilogue to Kong Watch on the internet. I'm covering all things Donkey Kong Bonanza in the lead up to its release. So if you want to keep up with the latest news and conspiracies, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, when I say that this is an insane one, well, there's really no other way for me to put it. I'm dead serious when I tell you guys this, that I seriously think the code may have been cracked here. I think we might have just cracked the entire premise of this game wide open. The previous videos have been very theory heavy. Granted, I guess this one is too, but I feel like this is the most compelling argument that I have seen for this game, and it's probably going to remain the most compelling argument that we've seen for this game. So I don't want to waste any time, because I have spent literally all day long compiling all of this into a digestible format. So let's get into it, yay! So our resident DK detective Sxips sent me some messages from his pal Joe, who made some seriously groundbreaking connections for Donkey Kong Bonanza. This man is solely responsible for this video, it needs to be known. Don't Mind Joe is his channel name. Seriously, go subscribe to him. He is a madman. And he's planning to do his own deep dive coverage of some of the things that I'm about to cover in this video, and probably much more. He will surely provide much more insight and nuance than I can, because I'm not even overly familiar with the topic at hand. So yeah, definitely subscribe to Joe. He deserves all the praise for this. I'm just the messenger. His links are in the description below. So much of what has been discovered can be linked to various pieces of the journey to the West. And when I show you what I'm talking about, I'm sure you'll probably agree with me. We've potentially figured out how Rool, Voidco, DK, and Pauline all connect. And by we, I mean Joe. I mean, seriously, all the kudos in the world to that guy. But this is like, you know, straight down to some fully tangible evidence found within the game itself. I'm gonna try to make this evidence as digestible as I can, but be warned, there's a lot to go over. Hopefully, I can remain well organized for this. I'm gonna be reading a bunch of Joe's words verbatim, because he sounds like a smarter guy than me. So let's kick things off with Voidco. I'll just gradually ease you into the insanity. So, Joe says that the three monkeys of Voidco are based on the celestial monkeys, but the lead monkey, who is based off of a macaque, is specially based off of the lion-tailed macaque, which is native to India. This is significant because Journey to the West is a mythological traversal from China to India to find Buddhist scrolls. This is me now interjecting with my own little blurb, but, you know, recently a map of the Northern Hemisphere was discovered by Sxips, and if we are to believe that this game takes place in the Northern Hemisphere, you know, the Northern Hemisphere is kind of meant to represent like Canada / North America, something along those lines. Depending on where DK Isle is in relation to the Northern Hemisphere, you know, that could be DK's Journey to the West. We're considered the West to Eastern countries, so. Anyway, the lead monkey, based off of the six-eared macaque, who in the myth is copying Sun Wukong, who in this case we're believing is Donkey Kong. Sun Wukong has a little nimbus cloud that he flies on, just like the Voidco monkey. He's got like a little banana ship or something, banana rock ship. And interestingly, one of Donkey Kong's new abilities is turf surfing, which, if we want to get real funny, you know, real silly about it, you could say is similar to the banana rock that this monkey rides on. Also, Voidco in itself is a reference, as Sun Wukong means monkey awakened to emptiness. Another word for emptiness being void. In fact, in some translations, that's the exact word. The Brutals in Mario Odyssey were from the moon. and Joe believes these monkeys could be from space. They do arrive on a weird asteroid or spaceship thing. So Voidco may have a double meaning as a reference to the Journey to the West connection, as well as void being like space, which itself is often described as a void. One of the abilities of the celestial monkeys is to control celestial bodies like asteroids, planets, the sun and moon. Also, celestial is often used for space stuff, as well as just adding to the overall theme and inspiration. The Brutals, I would also like to mention, are based off of the mythical moon rabbit, which is a popular Eastern folktale, much like Journey to the West. To further the point that I'm trying to make here, Joe believes and makes a compelling argument that Mario Odyssey, the general story behind it, may have also seen a great deal of inspiration from the Odyssey. A very brief summary is that it's about Odysseus coming home from war, and his wife is constantly being asked for her hand in marriage because people think he's dead and want his throne. So he's racing back home to stop her from being married off. Mario Odyssey, at its core, is about Mario trying to stop Peach from being married off to Bowser. These are some simple parallels, and if you dig deeper, you can find even more parallels. So people thought Odysseus was dead in the Odyssey, which is why there were men trying to marry his wife and take over. In Mario Odyssey, Bowser defeats Mario and he falls off the airship, lands in a hat land with ghosts, and can possess things. A trait that's usually applied to ghosts. So Mario is dead in a way, similar to Odysseus. The point I'm trying to illustrate here is that the 3D Mario team / Bonanza team are no strangers to pulling inspiration from other sources. Getting back to Joe's words, let's move on to Oddrock. While we don't know how they're approaching the character, Sun Wukong in the mythology is referred to as the Stone Monkey because he was born from a rock, like a literal stone cracked open and he was birthed from it. Could this be inspiration behind whatever they're doing with Oddrock? Whoever is hatching out, we have no clue. But the current guess is that the Pauline kid is connected, and to be honest, I think we might have cracked this too. Famiboard's user Stilt Village pointed out that there's an obvious parallel of Sun Wukong and Donkey Kong and Tang Sanzang, who in this case would be Pauline Jr., whose journey under DK's protection is likely going to be a core element of the plot. So, according to the Wikipedia page detailing Wukong and Sanzang's relationship, Sun Wukong is kept under a mountain for 500 years and can't escape because of a seal that was placed on the mountain. He is later set free when Tang Sanzang comes up to him during his pilgrimage and accepts him as a disciple. What the fuck, bro? It perfectly parallels how DK pairs up with Oddrock and Bonanza. And it gets even more wacky. Another snippet from Wikipedia mentions how Tang Sanzang possesses the power to create and break powerful seals, including the one that imprisoned the Monkey King. He also wields the Circlet Tightening Spell, which allows him to tighten a magical circlet. Why is this lining up so well? Holy shit. Adding to the Wukong connection, Joe mentions how Sun Wukong started as a villain and then becomes a hero by the end, just like how actual DK in the games was a bad guy in the 80s and now he's a good guy. So the Journey to the West can be interpreted as a story of redemption, particularly for the Monkey King and his companions. The journey itself, a quest to obtain Buddhist scriptures, is also a metaphor for the spiritual journey of overcoming obstacles and attaining enlightenment, which can be seen as a form of redemption. By having Donkey Kong team up with Oddrock and or Pauline Jr. and saving them, we could read into this and infer that, from a meta perspective, this may be a way of having Donkey Kong atone for the sins of the father and redeeming the Kongs. In this case, you know, our Arcade DK, or Cranky Kong, kidnapping Pauline. Now we're saving, potentially an offspring of hers. Again, the parallels to the Journey to the West here are insane. Furthering the connection a bit more, Joe goes on to mention that he's starting to think that DK being trapped underground might even be a reference to Sun Wukong being imprisoned under the mountain of the 5 elements, like in the myth. And get this, one of the companions in Journey to the West is a fish demon. And what does DK have in Bonanza that can teleport him around? Sxips goes on to point out that the ostrich layer has a grass element and the zebra layer has a snow element, and now we got this random ass fish. But it's starting to make sense. To lean even further into the Buddhism connections, here's a picture of Buddhist Sanskrit language. And here is an image of the banana script used in Bonanza. Just saying. I'm just saying. In Journey to the West, they're searching for Buddhist scriptures. Journey to the West is one thing, but the Buddhist connections don't stop there. It seems that Nintendo may have also pulled other elements from Buddhism as inspiration in Bonanza. This is about to get even wackier. So in Buddhism, the crocodile symbolizes destructive desires that threaten spiritual growth. As an antagonist in Buddhist narratives, it represents the consuming nature of these desires, which can lead to one's downfall and suffering. That is verbatim. Crocodiles are usually antagonists in Buddhist stories. The Jataka tales are famous Buddhist manuscripts where they tell fables to teach lessons. One of the most famous stories is the tale of the monkey and crocodile. Ready for another wild connection? Golden skeletons in Buddhism. There's a thing called Chittipati. I'm really sorry if I butchered that. And they're guardians who protect graveyards. They're described as golden skeletons with fiery crowns on their heads. How do the golden Kremling skeletons look? And what do they seem to be doing? Guarding the keys to Voidco locks. The skeletons are also meant to represent rebirth and renewal, the cycle of life and death. So believe it or not, that ties in rather perfectly with one of our previous theories about King K. Rool using the Kremling source to resurrect the Kremlings. To back this up further, Google says that in Tibetan Buddhism, a golden skeleton or dancing skeleton is a figure known as Chipati, or the Lords of the Charnel Ground. They are typically represented with skeletal features, sometimes with gold or bright colors. These figures symbolize the impermanence of death and the cyclical nature of existence, reminding practitioners of death and the void. Notice the use of the word void in there. Now, crocodiles themselves don't really have anything to do with the Journey to the West. Rather, Journey to the West and aspects of Buddhism are seemingly just the framework to fit the story. Think of Dragon Ball, for instance, and how Toriyama used Journey to the West for Dragon Ball. It's not really all that close to the myth, but the references and connections are obvious. So to go along with that, we have Cranky carrying a shovel that could be seen as similar to Buddhist monks taking shovels on pilgrimages. The lagoon area where Cranky is found has stone monkey statues that look Buddha-like. We've also got this big monkey dude with headphones, being very monk-like or Buddha-like. So now you might be wondering how King K. Rool plays into this, and we've got some pretty compelling evidence for him too. The main antagonist of the Journey to the West is the Demon Bull King. Doesn't he, sport some familiar articles? Now, Miyamoto is a fan of Journey to the West, and Bowser was actually directly inspired by the Demon Bull King. King K. Rool was already basically a riff on Bowser in the first place, so, make of that what you will. The Demon Bull King was also known to have used disguises in the Journey to the West for some trickery. Need I, say anything more about this connection? Now, here's something interesting to note as well. The Bull King was like a sworn brother to Sun Wukong in the story that eventually betrays him to try and obtain his own ambitions. He becomes more like a rival to Wukong, you know, rather than a full-blown evil antagonist. Nintendo seems to potentially be pushing this rival thing with K. Rool over a full-blown nemesis, as we can see with these two Smash Bros. Trailers. The K. Rool reveal was straight up titled The Rivals, and in the Banjo trailer, he's just hanging out with DK and Diddy. It almost seems like Nintendo wants to push K. Rool as more of like a DDD rather than a Ganon or Bowser. Adding to this, we do believe that Cranky is referring specifically to King K. Rool with his dialogue, and within his dialogue, he mentions K. Rool specifically being a rival to DK. It should be noted that Super Smash Bros. Has had a direct influence on the DK series in the past. Retro Studios specifically included Diddy Kong's Jetpack and Pop Gun in Returns and Tropical Freeze because of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. So suggesting that Smash Ultimate is having an influence over where K. Rool's character may be taken in the future. But it's plausible, it's not that big of a stretch. But even if Smash Bros. Is maybe still just too much for you, let me show you something that, in my mind, solidifies this entire Buddhism angle. What do you notice about this chest? It's got some standout details that play along too well. Play along just way too well with everything we've discussed today. It's green. just like our pal K. Rool, but it also has horns and a big nose ring, just like the Demon Bull King in Journey to the West. Good lord. So, if K. Rool appears in this game, which I'm fairly confident he will, it might even be possible that he shows up in full-on Demon Bull King attire. That might be K. Rool's new persona for this game. I'm not done just yet. In later renditions of Journey to the West, the six-eared macaque, who we believe our Voidco monkey represents, is said to be one of the Bull King's sons of associates of some kind. So there's a little link. And I think my cats are trying to kill themselves. The six-eared macaque also represents trickery, deception, and falsehood. In the myth, he pretends to be Sun Wukong and is a doppelganger. Joe thinks he was chosen as the leader of Voidco because he's a fake falsehood. He's not the real leader, K. Rool is. It's another subtle nod to the myth, but not one-to-one. He isn't pretending to be DK or the Sun Wukong here, but he is pretending to be the leader of the company. Or, what we're led to believe he's the leader. Another detail is that this lead monkey is holding a phone, or some sort of communication device. The six-eared macaque is called that because he can hear all secrets and whispers. He's all-seeing and hearing. A detail that I personally found interesting is that all the enemies in this game have those golden googly eyes that seem to resemble K. Rool's eyes. Almost as though K. Rool is watching DK's every move throughout this journey. K. Rool could be keeping tabs on DK and communicating with the macaque via banana phone. God damn it, fuck it, welcome to the bonus round. I wasn't actually planning to include this in here, but, you know, I've been getting tagged, people are asking me about it in the comments. Fuck it, let's talk about this. Our resident DK detective Sxips has been at it once again and discovered a familiar sounding chuckle in the Nintendo Treehouse footage for Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it. I'm just gonna go ahead and play his video, and then we'll talk.
Another consistent theme.
So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought this might just be more of like a coincidental occurrence than anything. But, I mean, hey, you know, I don't know. I'm already pretty convinced that King K. Rool is gonna be in this game. So is it really that much of a stretch to think that maybe they would use the pay-on King K. Rool voice, the cackle in here in some shape or form? I don't know. Hey man, I don't know. It's entirely possible. I guess when the game comes out, if King K. Rool is in the game and he's got that the same voice actor who, coincidentally, he voices Funky Kong too, then hey, you know, I don't know, maybe that's exactly what this is.
Another consistent theme.
I'm tired. This took a lot of time to compile. I don't even think I hit every detail, but I definitely touched on the most important parts. And, well, that's what matters to me. Again, I need to give a big shout out to Don't Mind Joe. He was the real mastermind behind this insane theory. I'm just the messenger boy, the messenger monkey. But truly, as insane as it is, it's crazy. You know, how much of this truly lines up with the whole Buddhism angle for this game? I don't know, maybe it's not that crazy. It's crazy that it was found. Donkey Kong fans are insane, man. I'm a part of that camp, but I don't know, these guys even have me topped. But I love it. I love it. So if you enjoyed this video, well, first of all, hit that like button and subscribe for one thing, but for another, go check out Don't Mind Joe. I'm sure he'll be able to give a much more nuanced and developed peek into what all this really means. He says he's working on his own video about it, so definitely keep an eye out for that. He's got a fun discussion video over on his channel about Donkey Kong Bonanza, so why not start there? That's a good place to start. Just to repeat myself, Donkey Kong fans are insane, man. This is by far the most compelling theory we've seen so far, in my opinion. I'll actually be more shocked if this doesn't all connect for some reason. But the observation is just way too spot on, man. Way too spot on. I wasn't expecting to have another video to churn out so soon, but the DK detectives, they don't rest. But I will say at this point, I will be shocked if there is anything else to discover based on the information we have so far. The trailer, the treehouse footage, because, oh my god, I feel like we have completely gutted this turkey at this point. More than likely, we probably won't have anything major to go over for Bonanza until that next trailer drops. Or so I would like to think. Honestly, I could use a little bit of a break, so. But anyway, do you think we're just a couple of knucklehead Donkey Kong fans who have gone way too far over the deep end? Or, you know, like me, do you think we've cracked the code? As always, hype responsibly, but the evidence is crazy. Leave any of your thoughts about this whole thing in the comments below. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. In the meantime, I'll catch you guys in the next one.